So welcome. We are the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. We're a metaphysical-based community that comes together every Sunday morning and sometimes during the week and sometimes online. We're a community that comes together to celebrate the facets of the teachings of New Thought and of metaphysics. Primarily, we teach the teachings of the science of mind here, which is a philosophy, it's a faith, it's a way of life. That's the culmination of all of the world's great philosophies that was put together by the founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, and published in a book in 1926. Sounds very heady, sounds very cerebral, and in many ways it is. And yet, at the same time, its essence and its focus is on acknowledging the individual, you and me, as full and complete expressions of the infinite power of the universe. In many traditional philosophies and religions, that power that we're talking about is called God. But we also know it as Allah or Jesus or Buddha, Yahweh. The names go on. And in our philosophy and our teaching, it matters not the name that you call it, but that you understand that it, in its essence, is infinite, in its nature is infinite, meaning that it's all pervasive, it's everywhere all the time, and it's within you and it's within me. The vision statement for our teaching here is supporting individuals in finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. What that means is that we're here to celebrate all facets and all aspects of who you are. All origins, all sexual orientations, all genders, all hair color, all sizes, all clothing, all aspects of humanity is celebrated in your spiritual magnificence. We honor you as the oneness of life itself. And so we're here today for you to know who you are in a new way as that power, that presence, that perfection, and to acknowledge that within each other and know that it's a safe place for you to come here today to find yourself greater empowerment for yourself than ever before as you move along this spiritual journey that is called your life. We're together today for about 66.35 minutes, and so it may be a little longer, might be a little shorter, but that's the average right now of when we're together on a Sunday morning in this room. And I invite you to open yourself up and just be more of that which you are. In essence, after all of what I just said, what our founding teacher, Dr. Walker used to say, here in this community, we welcome one and welcome all. So a big welcome to you. You'll see that some of us are real casually dressed today. This is not casual dress for me. I had on t-shirts and shorts and flip-flops earlier. But and I would love to have kept that on, but Dr. Walker would be twirling somewhere if that was the case. So we will honor him and not do that. And I might be scolded by a couple of you if I did it too. So unlike really my nature to be a follower, I'm following that lead today. But the reason we're dressed in t-shirts and shorts and comfortable clothing is that today is our picnic. And so if you're here today and you're planning to join us, that's fantastic. If not, you would like to join us, that's fantastic. You'll hear more about it. It's after the service at the Cheviot Hills Rancho Park. Let's take a moment and honor and acknowledge we have about 10 people at the park right now setting up for us. And they're saying that it's breezy and cool and beautiful, and it's going to be a perfect place for us to have a picnic today. So let's know that that's true for us. Let's take a moment and acknowledge those that are watching us online. Hello, those of you watching us online, whether it's in person or later. We open our service every Sunday morning with a ritual. The purpose of that ritual is for us to get anchored in who we know ourselves to be as spiritual beings. It's called calling in the light. The process of the ritual itself is music. It begins with music, and then our practitioner of the day will take us through the thing itself, and then you'll have the opportunity to sing along as well as a call and response, and then you'll hear something called affirmative spiritual mind treatment that's done, and that's where you'll hear language is probably unlike traditional religion, but gives you that opportunity to open up. Our practitioner of the day that'll lead us through that is Reverend James Hartsburg. I'd like to welcome him to the Bema. Our illuminator du jour is the one and only Wendy Waris, and our musicians, Leah and Andy, will take us through it. Enjoy.
Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light, calling in the light,
Good morning, I'm Reverend James Hartsburg, and the ritual we perform this morning is called Calling in the Light. Today, we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths and all sentient beings come from the one all-abiding presence, which we call Spirit. The purpose of this ritual is to draw into our gathering this morning a conscious awareness of our oneness and the qualities we possess as complete expressions of the divine. The first candle is lit for the quality of peace. In this way, we honor our inherent divine state of inner calm, regardless of any seeming chaos unfolding around or within us. The second candle is illuminated for the quality of power, the power we acknowledge as the energy by which everything exists. We light the third candle for the quality of beauty, a personal expression by which high spiritual qualities are made manifest. We light the fourth candle for the quality of joy, that state of being that is excited by the expectancy and experience of good. We light the fifth candle for light, the symbol of divine intelligence. The sixth candle is lit for all life, that which is defined as the animating principle of being, that inner something that makes everything alive. We light the seventh candle for the quality of love, defined as a self-givingness of spirit, the desire of life to express itself by giving of itself. The eighth candle is lit for the quality of wisdom. The concept of unity is the mystical secret of ages and the key to wisdom. The final candle we light is known as the healing candle. So I ask that you take a moment and think of someone you would like to silently put into the light of the healing flame, to experience the eternal and everlasting love of the divine.
I am love.
I am love.
I am peace.
I am peace.
In my heart,
In my heart,
I am free.
I am free.
I am spirit.
I am spirit.
I am soul.
I am soul.
All together,
All together,
we are whole.
we are whole.
Calling in the light. Calling in the light. Calling in the light of love. Calling in the light. Calling in the light. Calling in the light of love. And so it is,
And so it
and
is.
so it is, and so it is.
And so in this awareness, in this moment, I invite you to open the windows to your mind and to your soul and allow the cool breeze that is a universal presence to permeate your soul. Together we recognize that there is one ever presence that we call God. And it's in this presence in which we live and move and have our being. And today we call upon this presence to recognize that each and every person here is part of this divine principle that we call life. So we know that it's through this power and this presence that we have conscious volition to choose our lives, to choose good, to choose health, wealth, love, and abundance. And so I declare that for each and every person here today, recognizing that no matter what goes before us, any friction, any heat that may appear to be before us, we recognize that we have the opportunity to choose an inner state of calm, an inner state of coolness, an inner state of peace. And so we do so now, here today. We prepare ourselves for the message and for our function that we have this afternoon, our celebration of life, in which we get to connect and grow and bond with our colleagues of spirit here today. And so together, we say yes. Yes. Yes to the messages spoken here today. Yes to the connections that we have through our music, through the words, through each other, all while remaining cool. And so I know that this is the truth for everybody. In the spirit of celebration and an absolute faith in the creative process, we know that this is our truth. And in deep, deep gratitude, we release this into the universe, where we know this to be so. And together we say, and so it is.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend James. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Leah and Andy. So how many of you in the last few days felt it necessary to affirm that you were cool? How many of you did it work? You didn't. There wasn't as much exuberance with your response there. So hopefully throughout the rest of the service, you will learn some tools that will help you know how to do that, to deny what's going on in your conditions and affirm what is true for you. So Leah's got a song for us that's gonna. She called "People Get Ready," right? Isn't that the name of it? So she's telling you, get ready, right? So have at it, Leah Zeger, along with Andy Belling.
People get ready, there's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith to hear diesels humming. Don't need no ticket, just thank the Lord. People get ready for the train to Jordan. It's picking up passengers from coast to coast. Faith is the key, open the doors and board it. There's hope for all the loved and lost. There's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage, just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels coming. Don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. You don't need no ticket, just thank the Lord. Don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord.
Leah Zeger and Andy Belling. There's a train a-coming. And you don't need a ticket. Just thank the Lord. Right? I love that. I love that. What that's telling us is that, and as metaphysical terms, and some of you are new here today, and this, what you hear might be relatively new to you in the context of metaphysics, but what that's telling us here is that as we exhibit gratitude, as we consciously thank the power within us, then get ready, there's a train coming. That through that action, the law of life is bringing to us an experience in life that's reflective, if you will, of that consciousness of gratitude. And that's the same for all the other qualities of life that exist within us, which we heard in lighting the candles earlier. Here in this beautiful synagogue that we share our home with Congregation Kol Me, they have the qualities that they believe in up on the wall and around here. So what we're being told in all of this is that we have a choice to the state of mind that we decide that we want to have in life, and as a result of that, we get to experience that. That's because of a power that exists within us. It's a power that exists within us that Glinda the Good Witch told Dorothy when she said, "You've always had the power, my dear. You've always had it." I thought that would get a much better response. So I could have done that with a fire baton, but I chose not to. Glinda the Good Witch told Dorothy, right? "You've always had the power, my dear." Yeah, there we go. It's all about the setup. So you've always had the power. So what does that mean? What does that mean that you've always had the power, my dear? What it means is that the divineness of who you really are, the divineness, the divinity, the reality of who you really are, you've always had. You've always had it. That you don't have to do any single thing for it to exist within you. It's already there. It's always been there. It'll always be there. Because its nature is infinite. And as an individualized expression of that which it is, you, me, all of us, then we too are infinite as the power itself. What I'm telling you right now is that that divineness, that power, that which Glinda told Dorothy that you've always had, is the true you. It's the essence of you. It's who you are, and who you are is free of limitation and of judgment. Now think for a moment what it would be like to live your life free of limitation. We'll just let that sit there for a second, right? Just free of limitation. And then take a moment and think about what it would be like to live your life free of judgment. Who's expressed judgment so far today? And who has expressed it in a way towards themselves that didn't feel good? Yeah. Well, you know what Susan Powell used to tell us, right? Stop the insanity. Stop it, because by exhibiting that state of mind, that state of mind, you're not revealing the true you, which is wholeness, perfection, and completeness. Wholeness, perfection, and completeness. So close your eyes for just a moment and see those words pass onto what we call the optic screen, that darkness that you're looking into with your eyes closed. And see the words wholeness show up. And know that that's who you are. See the word perfection show up. And to know and believe that you know beyond where you know that that's who you are. And then see the word completeness show up. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Those are words that describe the power that you've always had, my dear. There was a blog that was written by a lady named Jennifer Hodgkins, whose bio says that she's a realistic optimist, a writer, a Gen Xer, and a dancer who can still hold her on a dance floor? How many of you are a dancer that can still hold your own on a dance floor? How many of you want to be a dancer that can still hold your own on the dance floor? Or I've got 2 tips for you. One, you've always had the power, my dear. And the other is there's a dance class every Friday morning at 11:30 called The Spirit of Dance. Come learn it. We awaken that within you. But in a writing that she wrote titled, You've Always Had the Power, My Dear, she wrote this. During my journey through Bay Path University and the American Women's College, I realized that somewhere over the rainbow, that was the theme for their graduation, is realizing that you don't need an all-powerful wizard to make everything in our lives happen. We are the wizards of our own destiny. We have the brains, the heart, and the courage to continue the many accomplishments we'll have throughout our lives. Our strength, determination, and values are how we will make our dreams come true. Strength. She's not talking about physical strength necessarily. She's talking about your spiritual strength, your spiritual musculature, to the degree that you've got yourself built to the place where nothing can rock who you are by knowing who you are as a spiritual being. Your determination, in other words, staying the course of revealing through you your wholeness, your perfection, and your completeness at all times. And when there are things that show up that seem contrary to that, bringing yourself back, tacking yourself back on the journey of your destiny, which is a revelation of living from the oneness that exists as you. And then she says your values, in other words, the standards and values that you choose to live your life by. I talk about every Sunday these qualities of peace, power, beauty, joy, light, life, love, and wisdom. And if you pick just one of those a day and let that be the impetus, that be the guidepost, that be the foundation from which we each choose to live our life, that will bring you back into the journey of the destination of revealing your wholeness. She goes on to write, before coming to the American Women's College online program, I was just another college dropout who followed too many other roads, and then an opportunity to be bold and get a second chance presented itself. Now, 2 years later, I stand in front of you speaking at commencement as a college graduate. I knew, she says, that I wanted to finish what I had started. I wanted to be able to show my son that when you have a dream and have resilience, that you can make things happen. That you have value, and those values will lead to success no matter what road you follow. That rainbow that we each hold in life may be a dream job, it may be writing a novel, or like her rainbow, that is to become a role model for her son as he starts his own journey. I love these components that she put in this paragraph, that when you have a dream, how many of you have a dream? Hopefully all of you do. For you to live as a fulfilled, fully expressed, conscious practitioner of the teaching of metaphysics, it's important for us at all times to have a dream. In other words, by holding in our mind a vision and that which we desire to experience in life in fulfillment form is important for us, because if we don't own who we are and what we desire to experience in life, there's no way the law can bring it forward. It matters not whether you call it a vision or a goal or a dream, but it is important, it is incumbent upon us to do that part of the co-creation process in life. And then have resilience, because how many of us in the room has ever had a dream or a goal or an objective that we wanted to experience in life and something known as crap or whatever showed up? Well, we've all had that, right? That's because life happens. That's because life happens. But the key to life as an awakened metaphysician is not freaking out when life happens, but to hold the course. To know that the outpicturing of life, that which shows up, is not who you are. Who you are is the power that you've always had, expressing itself when you're just being called forth when the stuff shows up in life, to know who you are at a deeper level. And if you don't know how to do that for yourself, reach out to a practitioner or a minister or someone that can know that for you. And then to live according to your values. About a year ago, I did a talk, and we named out some values that we wanted to have in life and choose to live from those. And it's important in life to tend to those as much as possible. Values are compassion, truth, love, givingness, acceptance, respect, diversity. Those are values in life. It's important to know what those are for yourself. And by holding true to those and knowing that the power of the divine is an unfailing power, that then the success that you bring into your life must happen. But what's important for us to all know relative to success is we are the ones that get to define what success means. Not allowing some outside power, some outside opinion, some outside view of what life is supposed to look like for us. That does not define success. We get to define it. And so Jennifer goes on to write, whatever your rainbow is, it's within you all along, and it will continue to shine through your accomplishments. When you feel lost and start to doubt your abilities, remember that wonderful words of Glinda the Good Witch, which is, you've always had the power, my dear. You just had to learn it for yourself. And I would add to that, you just have to learn it for yourself. And when you forget it, you have to relearn it again. And then relearn it again and again and again, 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 and again. It never stops. Why is that the case? Well, that's the case because you are an evolving consciousness. Now, I'm knowing that for you, whether you know that for yourself or not. Evolving meaning that with every thought, every belief, every action, every reaction, every interaction in life, you're moving yourself, lowercase s, more in alignment with who you are, the uppercase s, self, meaning that the more and more you tend to your beliefs about who you are as a spiritual being and live in accordance to that, the experience of your life will be reflective of that. That's the basic tenet of this teaching. So how do we do that in life? How do we bring our dreams, our desires, our objectives into form in life? Well, the title of my message this morning is Become What You Believe. Become what you believe. And the key to that is to ask yourself constantly and consistently, what do I believe? And then listen to the answer. And when the answer shows up, do everything that you can to attend to that without judging. Because it might freak you out what you really believe. It might bring you great joy. But what matters most is to let it show up and look at it. Look it square in the eye, if you will, and ask yourself, do I really believe this? If I do, how's it showing up in my life? Is it showing up in my life in a way that brings me peace, power, beauty, joy, light, life, love, and wisdom? Or is it showing up in my life, my belief, in a way that's contrary to that? And if that's the case, what do I really want here? And am I awake on the journey of learning what my beliefs are and seeing how they show up in my life? That's really one of the basic practices of this teaching. This teaching is that we have an indwelling presence within us. It's an infinite power when we both experience it and express it through our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions, our reactions, and interactions in life. That is because the world in which we inhabit, the universe in which we inhabit, is governed by spiritual law. And how that manifests itself in our world is by bringing forth into our field of experience experiences that reflect what we believe. Therefore, if you want to have a life that is better than the life was yesterday, the way to make that happen is by focusing on your beliefs in life, not on the experience itself. Why? Because the law that brings those forth into the field of experience is not going to change, it's not going to stop, and it's not going to pause waiting for you to determine whether or not you want to be awakened to the spiritual truth that exists within you already. You've always had the power, my dear. Well, then what is our goal in attaining that? The goal is to go deep in our psyche and our consciousness, and then to go deeper into our psyche and our consciousness, and then to go deeper into our psyche and our soul and our consciousness to that space where we can access the place in consciousness where our beliefs and our beingness are one. That they're not separate, that we go to that place where what we truly believe in life and our beingness are one. What does that mean? It means that when we access our most vital and intrinsic beliefs deeper than where we consciously think, I think it's deeper than where we consciously think that what we think we know, what we're consciously thinking about. It's deep within. It's something that comes up through the practice of meditation and prayer and openness and receptivity. But when we go there, we begin to become aware of what we truly, truly, truly believe. I studied with a man for years named Fred Wilson, and he used to take us through this process of asking ourselves, what do I believe about, fill in the blank? Do I truly believe this about blank? Is this what I want to believe? Am I willing to change my belief? If so, what do I want my new belief to be? So then what do I truly believe? And the cycle continues. Now, I don't know about you, but when I personally do that, because I've done it a lot, I feel myself going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and surrendering to that, where all of a sudden then this answer shows up. You're like, whoa, didn't really know I believed that. Or, whoa, that feels great, right? But the key is letting it come up. And then when it comes up, go, all right, now that's what I'm going to work on. It's important for us to know that when we become aware of what we truly believe and know that we have the ability to shift who we truly know ourselves to be, that it's important then for us to engage in with an awareness and acceptance to know that we're fueled in life by the energy of the source of all things. It's from that place that we then tap into the capacity that we have within us to change our beliefs and have our experience in life change. When we open our mind to an awareness that we are interconnected to every single thing that is, that's that power we're talking about, and that we're interconnected to each other, and to know this with the greatest simplicity and clarity of belief, then we increase our power in life. How many want increased power in life? How many wants decreased power in life? How many are neutral? Several of you didn't raise your hands at all. But I believe that you're here today because you do want increased power. Not some power that's coming within you from the outside being poured in, but awakening the power that is already within you, allowing it to be the guide in how you engage in life. Well, we do this by owning at a very cellular level, I believe, the spiritual truth that everything is interconnected. And by getting to a place where that is the greatest simplicity and a clarity of belief within us. In other words, it's a core belief. Deepak Chopra tells us in life that we have core beliefs in life, and that is what brings forth the experiences in our lives. When our core beliefs reflect our true identity as spiritual beings and are uncompromised, we get to experience life with ease. Why? Because they reflect our true nature, the qualities that we talked about, the qualities that are here. That's what's reflected or shows up in our life when we live from that place, knowing that that is our truth, that that is our spiritual reality. And as they reflect our true nature, they then reflect a consciousness and a mindset that knows without a shadow of a doubt who we are. Do you know without a shadow of a doubt that you are perfection, that you are wholeness, that you are completeness? Well, then who are we, Deepak Chopra says, if we want to know who we are? Well, who we are, according to Deepak, is we are love. You're love. Not love in the human form, but love as defined earlier as the self-givingness of spirit whose desire is to create more of itself out of itself, and the only way that it can do that is to you, through you. And that's the same for everyone in the room. It's the same for all of humanity. Imagine if this room alone for the next 7 days, for just 4 hours a day, focused simply on allowing the spirit that exists within us to fulfill its desire to create more of itself out of itself, which is through us. And in so doing, we created this vibrational field of love, divine love, not just human love, just simply in this room alone. Imagine what that would feel like as that energy shifts. And then taking that energy and moving it out into the everyday life that we all walk. We would probably hear a lot less swearing at each other. We We'd probably hear a lot less horn blowing taking place. We probably would tend less to the news that we're hearing. And or if we did hear it in a way that it caused us friction, we would know the truth for that which is being said to us by the newscaster, that which is being true about the person that's being talked about on the news, and that that's true about all of humanity. He says our core beliefs are to know that we are love, we are whole, we are perfection, we are complete, that in essence we are the individualization of the divine. And when we know this with no buts, no confusion, no compromise, we invoke a consciousness, a faith, if you will, a conviction, if you will, that we are love, that we are wholeness, that we are perfection, that we are completeness, that we are individualizations of the divine. In other words, believe it so that we can experience it. Not wait to experience it so that we can believe it. In dance class on Friday, my dance partner was having a little bit of a difficult time, and I said to her, "How's it going for you?" And she goes, "It's going fantastic." And yet visually that was not the case. Rhythmically that was not the case. Right? And I said, "Well, why isn't?" She goes, "Because I'm acting as if." It's a practitioner of this teaching. She was choosing in her mind to know that she had her rhythm down, baby, that she was working it on the dance floor. She had it going on when everything visually was contradictory to that. Now imagine what it would have looked like if she didn't know what as if meant, right? But it doesn't matter. Because she wasn't living from the outside in. She was living from the inside out. Well, how do we develop this in our life? Richard Rohr, an American author, spiritual writer, and Franciscan friar who lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico, who was ordained in the priesthood as a Roman Catholic priest in 1970, tells us this is how we access this completeness, this wholeness, this perfection. He says, if you keep listening for the love, the peace, the power, the beauty, the joy, the wholeness, you get it right? If you keep listening for it, keep receiving it, trusting the love, even with all of your limitations, with all of your worthiness, with all of your limited intellect or whatever you feel holds you back, you start to experience within yourself a sense of possibility. A sense of possibility. What he's saying here is that just as my partner did on Friday is know first that you are an individualization of the divine whose nature is all of these qualities that I've listed before. I won't continue to list them for you. And then as you know that, listen for it. What he means by listening for it is raising your vibrational frequency to a place to know that it's taking place around you. The teacher that I just referenced, named Fred Wilson, his mantra in life was opportunity is everywhere. Everywhere. Not just in LA, not just in this room, not just on Saturdays, not just for the rich, not just for those that are spiritually in tune. It is everywhere. And it's happening all the time. That's what he's talking about here as possibility. And he's saying the way to access that opportunity or that possibility is to consciously choose to be receptive to it first. First. To let it be. And the thing for us to know is that we think we're letting it come to us. But you're not listening for it to come to you. You're listening for it to come through you. Because you've always had the power, my dear. Remember, it's there. It's already there. So the key is to, as I talked about a few weeks ago, I think it was here or in class, what we were told to do is shut up and listen. And then it rises up. It rises up and makes itself known to you. And then you feel it. And then you resonate with it. Why is that the case? Because it's who you are. That's why you resonate with it. It's not who you think you're supposed to be. It's not what someone told you you were supposed to be. It's not some job application that you're trying to match the criteria. It's not the criteria on some dating app that you think is going to be the person that's going to bring you joy and peace and happiness and love. It ain't none of those things. It's that which is already within you. It is your perfection. It is your wholeness. It is your completeness. It's your peace. It's your power. It's your commandments to joy. It's light, it's love, it's that which is eternal within you. And when we tap into that and let it rise up through us, then life itself is indeed a blessing. It's a blessing. But it's important for us to ask ourselves consciously, what do I believe about love? What do I believe about my self-worth? What do I believe about security in life? And what do I believe about wholeness? Deepak Chopra says that these are the 4 essential core beliefs that affect every single one of us on every single level in life. That these beliefs shape our life and express our essential consciousness. And when we begin to activate these uncompromised beliefs, we then are indeed loved. Why? Because we get to experience love as we express it and know it's our reality. That we are indeed worthy in life. In other words, we have an experience of life that are knowing that we're worthy of all the good that exists in the universe. And we're also then indeed safe in life. Why? Because inherently within us, we are safe. There may be moments in the physical realm that we feel unsafe, but the essence of who you are is safety. It's perfection. We've determined that already. And then you know without a shadow of a doubt that you are indeed whole. That these beliefs, our beliefs, can be the most important tools to personal transformation. And then when we align these beliefs with our actions in life, this then supports us in shifting the trajectory of our lives, no matter where we are in the moment, to a life that is more in alignment with this inherent freedom. It's the freedom that I talked about last week of expressing who you are as a free being spiritually, of tapping into your humanity in life that is propelled from your divinity. Not going through life as a human being, reacting and then trying to tap into your divinity. It's about bringing your divinity forth first. And then all facets of your humanity is filtered through your divinity. Do you think that for one moment that your life would be better, not judging, just using that as a gauge, if you brought your wholeness and your perfection and your completeness and your peace and your power and your beauty and your joy and your blessings and your gifts and your wholeness to just one part of your life? Of course it would. Of course it would. So why aren't you doing it if you aren't? So let today be the day that we all declare for ourselves to have new core beliefs that are awakened in a way that they weren't before. That we choose kindness in a way that brings forth a life that reflects generosity in a way that we've never experienced before. To know that compassion is who we are innately and that we give in life accordingly, not just monetarily, but we give through all aspects of who we are. By loving life itself and live from this perspective with conviction that wholeness and perfection and completeness is who we are. Jeffon Seeley, this great millennial that spoke here about a year and a half ago, wrote on a blog and he said this: prayers and positive thoughts can open invisible doors, but action is required to walk through them. Action is required to walk through them. Well, what are some of those actions that might be required? Well, I think what is required of us to walk through them is to not only engage in beliefs of ourselves as whole beings and who we want to be, but by letting go of every single thing that is contrary to that. The Buddha tells us that just as a snake sheds its skin, we must shed our past over and over and over and over and over again. So what we're being told is not only is it important for us to engage in that which we desire to be, but the only way to allow that to rise up into its magnificence in a greater way than ever before is by letting go of that which was. Of that which was. So today I invite you to let go of anything that you're holding on to, whether you're consciously aware of it or not, that is contrary or contradicts who you know yourself to be as the divine fully expressed. Fully expressed. And then command with the deepest sense of conviction that you have that each step forward in your life as you're finding your personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening is one that reflects innately who you are, which is a powerful being waiting to be expressed, waiting to be revealed, and waiting to show up and make life more and more and more magnificent for you and for me. Have a great picnic Sunday. Thank you.